What is he waiting for? President Biden has vowed to visit the site of the toxic train derailment in Ohio, quote, at some point. But the White House staff says that's news to them.
Are there any plans for President Biden to visit East Palestine?
I don't have anything to share on a planned visit for the president to Ohio.
Even Democrats are begging Joe to visit. Former Ohio Rep. Tim Ryan said he was shocked the president hasn't gone, saying, quote, this is not a hard one. It's imperative that he shows up there and not just shed light on the cleanup, but make sure the effort is sustained. Mayor Pete went, but now he's moved on to other important things like impressing Hillary Clinton.
You're dealing sometimes with a noise machine that seems to have little to do with your day-to-day work and a lot to do with perceptions about your real or perceived role in presidential politics. It would be very indecent of me to complain of that sitting next to you. Again, I'm humbled to have a word like trailblazer used when I'm sitting next to you and knowing all the cracks you put in that glass ceiling. For all the challenges we're dealing with in transportation right now, this is the best job in the federal government, which is that we're building the future, like, literally.
Well, Greg, I didn't plan on asking this question, but when he says it's the best job in federal government, that being Secretary of Transportation, why is it for him the best job?
Because he's a trailblazer. He's a trailblazer. Didn't you realize that? He goes, oh, people say I'm a trailblazer, but, you're a trailblazer. I'm just happy that he's hanging out with a better class of people. Maybe, she's not the, the mayor of College Park, Maryland, but who is?
That's
Google it. No, also, the funny thing is, liberals will go to Palestine, but they won't go to Palestine because it's just not cool enough. It's like there's something edgy about the BDS movement, but there's nothing edgy over flyover country or working class families who are getting screwed. This is the way it's always been. The Democratic Party is the party of overeducated, angry, liberal women. They're not a party for families. They're not a party for working class families. That's suddenly becoming the turf of the Republicans.
Yep. All right. So, Geraldo, Joe Biden's whole identity is tied up in this, personal loss, connection with the worker, growing up in Pennsylvania. 31 days. The guy, he has no plans. He hasn't gone there. Even Tim Ryan is like, what's going on?
I'm with Tim Ryan. I can't understand why he has been so insensitive and so stubborn about visiting. I think that with Buttigieg and now with the president of the United States, there's an aspect of I'll show those critics. I'll go when I feel like it. Erica was down past Tim Ryan's old district, Youngstown, a speech and debate tournament with our daughter Sol. The people of East Palestine, still very, very worried about their future, their home values, the dioxin, the toxic, implications of what they've been exposed to. It's terrible. I will say I'm proud that our two senators, Sherrod Brown and J.D. Vance, one Democrat, the other Republican, have proposed legislation on these cargo trains, minimum crews, and notification in communities that hazardous material is passing through. That's very good legislation. I like that it's bipartisan. It's a start. Let's get this going. And the president, please, Mr. President, these are your constituents. You must go and visit them.
Jesse, the toxic removal or the soil removal isn't even completed, and it won't be completed for months. Do you think Joe Biden would get a warm reception if he showed up now?
I would hope he would get a warm reception. I would hope the people of East Palestine wouldn't go there and throw things and yell at him. And it would mean a lot to them after all this to have the president come visit. When you're older, you get stubborn, and Joe Biden's an old politician, doesn't want to feel bullied into doing something he wasn't planning to do. So he's going to be asked about this, and he's going to keep ignoring it. And I don't know how long he could get away with it. It's kind of struck the American people in their hearts, this story, and it could become his Achilles heel, so the way the border was. When are you going to the border? When are you going to the border? Again, it could become one of those things that he's dogged by, and until he does it, he's going to pay a political price for it. This thing is going to go on for quite some time.
Oh, yeah.
So he's got plenty of time to do this. Then there's Pete. The last place you want to go is share a stage with Hillary Clinton. You do not want to involve yourself in the Clinton Global Initiative. It's toxic.
Yeah.
It is not. And when you go there and act like you're a victim, and he's complaining about bad press, this guy gets more good press than any transportation secretary in the history of transportation secretaries. Don't go whine and commiserate with crooked Hillary Clinton, who's always the victim. He's better than that. But he has to rehab himself because their bench is so thin on the left that we can't afford to have Mayor Pete take any more blows. It's either him or Kamala.
All right. Dana, Norfolk Southern is proposing, not proposing legislation, but is making changes, specifically with respect to that hot bearing detector, the one that heated up but didn't do the alert that it should have done, which would have alerted the crew to stop the train. Is this their preempting any kind of legislation or civil lawsuit?
Well,
what do you think they're doing?
It's probably because, maybe because it needs to be done on the merits, but also remember the CEO is going to be in front of Congress next week in front of a committee. So he wants to be able to say, we have already taken such measures. So there's the company's crisis communications, which is something to be desired. I've never seen anything like this from a modern presidential group that is sometimes like really on their game. But on this one, they just keep hitting. What is that, a swing and a miss? Is that what they call it? It's getting to be baseball season soon. Remember that question to the president, when will you go to the border? Why won't you go to the border? You've never been to the border. Why won't you go to the border? As soon as Biden went to the border and literally did nothing, the question stopped. He himself said he was going to go at some point, so the press secretary shouldn't be surprised that they're like, when are you going to go? And I think the people there in East Palestine would welcome him. They'd want him to know this is what we're worried about. They're concerned that they're going to be forgotten. And if the president goes and says, I've talked to everybody in the cabinet, I'm going to make sure we're going to make sure somebody's here, Michael Regan will be here, and if they don't want Pete, that's fine. But the other thing I'd point out is there is an opening on the president's populist left. If he doesn't declare soon and try to wrap this thing up, you could have somebody actually declare and run in New Hampshire. Marianne Williamson's already declared, but RFK Jr. has also said, well, maybe I'll throw my hat in the ring. So you wonder what is going on there. They're going, oh, well, actually, we're going to talk about that next. A little about Jill Biden.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Dana.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.